Adorable with Mayhem Devil. What does Mengucci want to do?
Adorable.
Bacon.
I am a Mayhem Devil.
You are an adorable Mayhem Devil. But Mengucci doesn't care about that. Mengucci's going to ramp and ramp some more,
Pain
and then
bacon.
big Hydroid Crisis, and then Pain Bacon.
What, Pain Prosciutto?
Powerful Prosciutto.
Powerful Prosciutto. Okay, all right. Well, let's see who wins in this food fight between the Pain Bacon and the Cat Oven combo, along with 12 Crumbs and Gilded Goose. Talking of which, that is a pretty good-looking hand here for Głogowski, and not so much so for Andrea Mengucci. He's got a growth spiral, wants to find something else, get to his 5 mana as quick as he can, and just ramp into oblivion.
Mengucci's hand is not ideal. Here come the emotes, the hellos and your goes here from Kanister as we head back over to Mengucci, who's just got a growth spiral, a land, and pass the turn back. Mengucci already has a 5-mana spell to play in Cavalier of Thorns, and something even bigger than that in Hydroid Crisis. If you are Głogowski, what you need to do is you need to work towards something Paul mentioned, which is Casualties of War. You need to get there pretty darn quick.
Yes, so he does have Trail of Crumbs. He's got the Gilded Goose to sacrifice the food, make a mana, draw a card. Well, in essence, draw a card. But we got a Hydroid Crisis. We're going to get going here. Andrea Mengucci just like, right, I want to kill you. I want to kill you quick because I don't like a Corvold coming down and ruining my day.
Corvold going to the hand is actually pretty nice. That can be a key card in this matchup because it can end the game very, very quickly. Now, I mentioned that it's important for Kanister to get towards Casualties of War pretty quickly. Beanstalk, Giant, and more importantly, Fertile Footsteps allows for that to occur.
So we're going to go and find a land. Which land is he going to grab from his library? Looks like it's going to be the Swamp. To get the little kitty cat, nope, not you, Casualties. You have to wait a few more turns there, friend. So next turn, he could actually Casualties.
Yeah, depending on if he draws a land. I mean, this is not a bad spot here for Kanister. I think he's put the correct amount of importance on ramping, Gilded Goose, Fertile Footsteps, and then casting his big spells. He's got to keep up in the ramp game in this matchup.
Oh, yeah. So here we're going to see Cavalier of Thorns enter the battlefield. Take a look at the top 5 cards of the library. Find a land. Temple of Mystery is going to get a scry.
That's actually really,
Kanister
really nice.
likes it.
Quasi duplicates are in the graveyard right now. That's actually really, really nice because, of course, Jumpstart allows you to play them from the graveyard, and he's got plenty of things to discard if he wants to go that route to make more Cavaliers.
Hydroid Crisis going to get in for 2, chipping away at Kanister's life total. No oven yet.
It's actually extremely, extremely important that right now that a land is drawn, and it was.
Oh, yeah.
That was huge because if not, there would have been more copies of Cavalier of Thorns via the quasi-duplicate. So I believe that will be the target here of Casualties of War, which is let's take care of the Cavalier and figure some other stuff.
Yep. So certainly want to get rid of that because quasi-duplicate targeting Hydroid Crisis, it just kind of whiffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great, obviously.
No, it would just die, right? Because it'd be a 0/0.
Oh, quasi-duplicate targeting the Hydroid Crisis. Yes, very, very poor. Yeah, absolutely.
So there we go. We've got the Cavalier of Thorns in the graveyard. It can bring something back to the top of the library. What is he going to pick? Looks like to be a Risen Reef.
We'll see Mengucci with a little bit of a decision here.
Or is that his next card that he's about
to may be I think that's
that was
one
on the scry.
Yes.
Okay, so now what does he want to do? Because he can decline this. He can just leave the Cavalier in the graveyard. Which may not be the worst idea. You know, quasi-duplicating a Risen Reef isn't terrible. No Mayhem Devil to worry about things getting pinged off.
At least not yet.
Corvold is coming down next, though.
Yeah,
potentially.
and Mengucci does know that. Mengucci knows, pardon me, that that's an option. So Risen Reef, it looks like it's where he's going to start.
Yeah.
Do remember as well that he gets to play towards Finale of Devastation because he already has that card in his hand.
Big piggy. I'm looking forward to that. So Risen Reef is going to reveal a land at the top of the library. We're going to see Castle Ventress enter the battlefield and potentially a quasi-duplicate just getting things going here. Risen Reef number 2. Get some triggers off. Get some extra land on the battlefield. Find some more action off the top of the library. This is looking good for him.
He's starting to come back. I mean, this is a card that's great in multiples, of course.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, there's a 3rd.
And this, again, continues to allow Mengucci to be able to build towards that Finale of Devastation. The question, oddly enough, is will he have enough time to actually get there? Because one thing that we learned yesterday from Brian Bronduin, and we've seen from other players, is that Corvold closes the game out very, very fast.
Oh, yes, he does. So Corvold's going to enter the battlefield. He's going to sacrifice something. He's also got the Fabled Passage he can follow up with to add another counter, to draw another card. This card is pretty busted.
When it's doing its thing.
Can I say it's busted?
Absolutely. When it's
Yeah.
doing its thing, now it is a 5-mana threat.
Yeah.
But when it has time and it's doing its thing, it's absolutely outrageous.
Yep, and now we get another goose off the forest. We can bring the cat back, we can sacrifice another thing, we get the pings, we get another big Corvold, we get another card. It's just, woo, running out. Yeah, things are going to get a little crazy here.
So the only question here for Mengucci is, I mean, I think that Mengucci is actually heavily favored right now.
Yeah.
He's got this is his third Risen Reef, so there's going to be a ton of triggers.
Yep.
And Leafkin Druid as well. It's going to be a ton of triggers. And then you just set up a Finale Devastation for a very, very large amount.
Oh, hello.
And
That's a
Nissa is not bad either.
Yeah, that's not too shabby. You like to see that for
Cavalier
sure.
Thorns
Cavalier is
working
also
itself.
pretty good.
Yep. So this is actually, I think, a pretty good spot
Yeah.
here for Andrea. And the cards that he's drawing are obviously quite good, but those cards aren't as good as Corvold is in the current situation. But Finale Devastation is the card that goes way over the top, and that's why it's in his deck here this weekend.
Exactly right. So now it's going to be interesting to see how we sequence this turn. Are we going to see Nissa Who Shakes the World followed up by Cavalier? Will we quasi-duplicate another Risen Reef? Cavalier may be the better quasi-duplicate target.
Yeah, I think this turn, I think because he should be able to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I don't think he's going to be able to Finale next turn. I think he's got to put a priority on hitting Finale next turn.
Yeah.
So this gives him the greatest opportunity to do that. So let's start with Cavalier Thorns plus all these Risen
Yep.
Reef triggers.
Ooh, hello. Oh, yes, please. So, Agent of Treachery, you know what? He likes to steal things. You know what's a very good thing to steal, Cedric?
Well, Corvold would be a very good thing to steal.
Pain Bacon? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
but
excited.
that's in hand right now. So Enray's Forerunners actually being in hand makes a huge difference here. So
Oh, yeah.
again, let's keep track of something here.
Okay.
So before it was Finale for 10 to be able to get Enray's Forerunners and win the game that way.
Yeah.
Now Enray's Forerunners is actually in hand. So you play another Risen Reef, you get your 4 triggers here, and the next turn you're actually going to cast Enray's Forerunners and just win the game that way. is going to be the plan here for Mengucci, and he's gone wide enough
Oh, no.
that this should be a realistic possibility.
Oh, man, what a turn. Look at this. It's like, oh, you have card draw? Let me show you what I can do with my Risen Reefs.
So if you are Kanister right now, you
You're in a-
have to kill your opponent next turn,
Right now.
I believe.
Right now. But how does he do that with a little 2-2 blocking his way? Needs to kill that friend, doesn't he? So first things first, Kitty Cat's going to come back onto the battlefield, sacrificing the food, getting some triggers. Going off, Corvold will draw a card, get another counter put on him. That is a Blood Crypt off the top, not what he wanted to find. But that is what you want to find.
Murderous Rider's okay. The problem here is that everything that's going on here,
Yeah.
it has to trump Enray's Forerunners, giving all these creatures
+2, +2.
just everything that's involved with that. Yes, it has to trump that.
Yep.
Kanister is smart enough to know that everything that's going on in his hand, Murderous Rider, Beanstalk Giant, Trail of Crumbs, all the other stuff, he's going to get Forerunner next turn.
Yep.
And can I beat getting Forerunner next turn?
No.
It's
I'm gonna put it out there and
It
say
is looking very difficult, especially when you weigh into the equation that Agent of Treachery can be worked into the equation.
yes. So Corvold swinging in, triggering this sacrifice. Kitty Cat gets sacrificed to the Fur Coast King. Draws another Fabled Passage off the top of the library there.
Like the
Hydroid
block.
Crisis is gonna block.
Yep.
Just in case there's any more sacrifice shenanigans going off.
Dragon doesn't trample,
Dragon
so
doesn't trample, no. Another sacrifice trigger, another card, a Mayhem Devil. You would have been... Actually, this is pretty good. If he can get that down and start snacking on some more things, he could ping a few of these creatures off the battlefield, which he really needs to do.
Mayhem Devil is actually a pretty important find here
Yeah.
to be able to start taking care of some of these Risen Reefs. What he needs to do is put a priority on making sure he doesn't die to Enray's Forerunners, because it is worth noting that Mengucci wouldn't just discard that card at random, which is
Yeah.
what he did last turn, because that means he has Finales in his hand.
Yeah.
Finale checks your deck and your graveyard.
Yeah.
So that is Mengucci's plan, or at least it was. Things may have changed now.
Okay, so now let's see how Andrea Mengucci navigates this. Will we see the big pig hit the battlefield? Or will he take an extra turn? Will he take Corvold? That's another option.
Yeah, that's the thing that's actually kind of scary right now if you are Kanister, is Agent of Treachery works itself into the equation, which is a great thing to find, of course, with Finale Devastation, but he's already got it, so you don't have to worry about that. This is actually this is a really good position here for Mengucci. He's got a lot to think about how he wants to sequence, though.
So many options. So first things first, it looks like he wants to go towards the agent, but decides against it. Burning down that rope. All right, here we go. What are we going for? Nissa, Who Shakes the World, first and foremost.
Good start. That card's mostly free in
Yep.
this spot.
It's not that threatening that Kanister would fire off the Murder's Rider straight away to try and kill it.
No. And plus you can just float mana in response. So
Yeah.
there's nothing to really be scared of with the Nissa, but what it allows Mengucci to do is kind of deploy that and then do other things on top of that. So
Oh yeah. So this is pretty much the ideal situation Mengucci wants to be in, where the world is his oyster. He's got all these cards, all these massive threats, and all the mana to back it up. So firing off what looks like to be a rather big finale of Devastation. I wanted to see that.
Yep.
Oh man.
The powerful
Głogowski.
prosciutto takes it down.
So Finale Devastation for 10 wraps up game number 1 there for Andrea Mengucci. Let's go to game number 2, sideboard time.
Yeah, and so this is the reason I think this matchup is extremely difficult here for Kanister, because do keep in mind that last game we actually saw Casualty of Wars be cast.
Yep.
And I believe that Kanister lost 2 turns later, maybe been 3 turns, but ultimately he doesn't have enough interaction. That may have been his best game 1 draw that he could have available to him. We're talking Casualties early. Korvold was also found. It's a 2 of in his deck, and he found one of those. So he drew his key cards in the matchup. I would argue that the Mayhem Devil was a little bit late.
Yeah.
But ignoring that, he interacted. He did what his deck is supposed to do, and he got pretty soundly defeated. This matchup is quite bad for him. This is one of the reasons that Mengucci brought this deck to the tournament, because he's trying to go over the top of everybody.
Oh yeah, and he's doing a mighty fine job of that indeed. So now let's get into game number 2 here between Andrea Mengucci, Piotr Głogowski, Simic Ramp versus Jund Sacrifice. Like we saw, Sacrifice in general hasn't been doing very well, so Piotr's kind of like the last shining hope here for it to have a good finish. And he's struggling against this Simic Ramp deck from Andrea.
Yeah, I mean, I think this matchup is a very tough pairing here for Piotr. The thing I will say, though, is that we're looking at 2 players that are 4-0, so winner of this match is going to go on to tomorrow. That's the first thing, but even if Głogowski was to lose this match, he's still got plenty of chances to make day number 3 of competition. So not the end of the world. Sometimes you get a bad pairing. I think this is one of those instances, and we'll see if he can come back. But I mean, we're also looking at a hand here that, I mean, you take a look at it, there's not a ton of interaction.
No.
The clock is not particularly fast, so that means Mengucci, again, is going to be able to get to do his thing and not really worry that much about what's going on the other side of the battlefield.
I think that's what Głogowski's considering now. He's like, yeah, it's okay, but I'm going to mulligan and hopefully find something better. So there we go. This is better. Yes, we got the cat, we got the oven. If we find a third land, we got Beanstalk Giant to go and get some extra, mana. We've got Mayhem Devil, and then, of course, Casualties of War, which will hopefully put a better performance up for him, but that's going to go to the bottom of the library. Let's get things going.
Yeah, I think that's the best card to put on the bottom here as well. Casualties of War is just, it's not that great of a card in the matchup. It has moments of being good, but I think we saw it kind of at its best in the last game.
Yeah.
And as we know, that was not nearly good enough. So not a bad hand here. It is very important, I believe, for Kanister to find a couple of lands here.
Yeah. He has got the goose, so, in a bit of an awkward way, he can get to 3 mana eventually, but Witch's Oven doing Witch's Oven things, sacrificing the cat and making the food. Gonna bring it back and chip away at the life total like that, but yeah, like Paul mentioned also, and like you've said, that might not be the way to victory here.
Yeah, you saw the eye roll right there from Kanister, because he needed to draw a third land.
He did.
He searched for a forest. Now he could have searched for a swamp, obviously. By searching for a forest, that means he wants to be able to cast Gilded Goose or Beanstalk Giant. And the idea is that I hope that I draw either a mountain or a swamp or some sort of land that allows me to cast Mayhem Devil.
Yeah.
Failed. Drew another forest, which means that Mayhem Devil can't be cast on time in this game. So he's going to go to Fertile Footsteps, probably going to get a basic swamp.
I think he's going to get the forest to get the food out.
Okay, sure. So he'll do this and play the goose. Okay, that's totally fine as well.
Yeah.
And then just pass the turn back, since Fertile Footsteps brings a land onto the battlefield untapped.
Yes. So there we go. We got the goose. The goose can make the other color for Mayhem Devil. Risen Reef is going to join the fray, going to go looking on top of the library, finds a Hydroid Crisis.
Little flooded on those right now.
Yeah, that's a lot of fishes.
It's a weird thing to be flooded on. I don't think it's a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, no.
But you'd rather have 2. I don't think you really want 3 right now. His hand is still okay, but naturally he would have preferred to find a land there.
So Cauldron Familiar getting a few pings in. There's a Stomping Ground off the top. We're going to pay 2 life, get the Mayhem Devil down, and start pinging away at Andrea Mengucci's battlefield. This is a much better start for Piotr Głogowski.
This is a good setup.
Yeah.
You've got Mayhem Devil doing Mayhem Devil things, going to start pinging some things here, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So this is not a bad start here for Głogowski at all. This allows him to interact early, and then ideally bridge the gap to start interacting even more late.
I think you can kill the Leafkin Druid here with the triggers. Cat comes back. Sack the cat, sack the food.
Well,
yeah,
that's
you can
better.
take care of the Leafkin Druid. That's cool.
Mayhem Devil management is something that the best players with this Jump Sacrifice deck know how to do.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't surprise you that you see Kanister here at 4-0, and he's using Mayhem Devil accordingly. He obviously knows what's going on here. Now, I think, did he make a mistake? I really can't imagine that occurred.
No.
Okay.
I still think he's fine. He's just making some more food.
All right. Well, he hit the oops emote. You know,
He likes his emotes.
I don't know if he's trolling or.
He's sacrificing 2 food here to bring the cat back. He doesn't need to, but he wants to kill this Risen Reef. So that gets the creatures off the battlefield here. And this is just how potent Mayhem Devil is. This is the reason to splash red in this deck.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much. Aside from Corvold, who's great and all, but, you know, Mayhem Devil is really the thing that gets things done for you.
You're going to see a Krasis for 2, most likely. This is the first Krasis that's going to bridge the gap into the next handful of Jellyfish Hydra Beast. Well, that's all 4.
We got a Jellyfish Hydra tribe going on here. Mayhem Devil going to get another ping off of this Cauldron Familiar Sacrifice to the Witch's Oven. And yeah, this poor little fishy is just going to get smacked out of the sky by the Mayhem Devil, who's likely going to swing in for an extra 3 points of damage.
I mean, Mengucci's in some serious trouble now because what Kanister's done is find kind of the perfect combination, which is he's going to have the ability to kind of keep Mengucci's battlefield in check, and then Beanstalk Giant is going to check the opponent. And Mayhem Devil gets to come in here too, and don't forget that Mayhem Devil provides his deck with some reach because the damage can go upstairs.
Yeah.
So Cavalier of Thorns is going to come down. That big 5/6 is smaller than Beanstalk Giant.
Yep.
So I actually think Mengucci is in some serious trouble this game.
Yes, he is. The flooding of the Hydroid Krasis in hand doesn't help him very much here. He needs, well, I don't know what else he would have needed, like some ramp to get into those things, make him at least survive the pings from Mayhem Devil. But here we go, Cauldron Familiar back again from the dead. Using life, what's this, 6 out of 9?
Yeah, I think this deck, I think this game was decided pretty early on with that Risen Reef missing.
Yeah.
It needed to find a land so that he could play Cavalier early. Also, he would have preferred to have some interaction instead of all these copies of Hydroid Krasis. Yeah. As good as that card is, it's much better in the mid to late game as opposed to casting it for 4, or excuse me, casting it for 2 on turn 4 with 4 mana, which is what he had to do this game.
Finding a Corvold Faker's King off the top of the library. You got to think if Mengucci sees this, he might be a little bit like, yeah, okay, this is not looking great.
We're about done here, I think.
Sacrificing the oven. Nice. Yeah, sure. Cool. All right, let's get to pinging. Corvold getting nice and big and bulky, drawing another land off the top of the library. Here comes the kitty cat once again. He did sacrifice the oven to Corvold, right?
No, he sacrificed the cat.
He did?
Yeah, oven's still on the battlefield, so he's fine.
There's another oven.
Yep.
Good game. And Andrea Mengucci sees the writing on the wall as well as the big dragon on the other side of the battlefield. So let's go to game number 3. This is to determine our very first entrant into day number 3 of Mythic Championship 7. Who is it going to be? Who do you like in this final game? I
still think Mengucci is heavily favored in this matchup, and especially with him being on the play here in game number 3, it's hard to imagine him losing this game, at least for me, if he's able to keep a functional 7-card hand. So obviously we're going to see how things unfold here momentarily. I do like Kanister's setup after sideboard insofar as he does have interaction, and you can also see that he's considering lowering his curve substantially. You know, he's got Wicked Wolf, he's got Mayhem Devil, he's got Murderous Rider, Casualties of War, which he's going to move some out and bring some duresses in. So he's looking for more ways to interact early and often, and if he gets Mayhem Devil going like he did in the last game, he can certainly win. But his back is up against the wall because he is on the draw in this third and final game.
So let's see what happens between these two very, very good players. Głogowski, of course, making it straight through to day 2 off the bye from MPL Weekly. Starting hand, 3 Forests, Fabled Passage, Trail of Crumbs, Goose, and Cat. That's not too bad at all. Another cat off the top of the library. So let's get things going. Let's get the cats to work.
Mengucci's hand's okay. He's going to play Leaf Druid. He needs to get to Nissa quickly.
Yeah.
It's very, very important.
Ooh, there's a Wicked Wolf. That can take care of a few things.
Yeah, and that's bad news for Andrea. So what he's going to do, first of all, he needs to draw land.
Yeah.
That's step 1. Missed.
That's a Hydro Crisis.
He's going to start with Growth Spiral. This is a high upside play hit in some capacity insofar as he does not have a blue mana available right now to play Gust.
Here we're going to see Trail of Crumbs draw a card off of Gilded Goose, sacrificing the food token, finds a Blood Crypt and another Gilded Goose. What does he go for here? Goose?
Looks like he's going to take the Goose, and then I think
Ooh, and
I think we're going to see Wolf. Yeah, this is bad news. This is bad news for Andrea.
All right.
He needed that creature.
He really did. Wicked Wolf is going to make short work of the Leafkin Druid, stopping the ramp game from Andrea Mengucci. There's another land. So no Nissa this turn. He would have loved that. Ideally, it's just going to be a 2-2 Hydroid Crisis, finding another island off the top of the library. Murderous Rider now for Kanister, who can take care of whatever else, whatever big threat Andrea plays next. So yes, it's not looking good for Andrea right now.
So probably best draw for Andrea next turn is Breeding Pool.
Yeah.
Truth be told. Cavalier Thorns is also quite good. But Breeding Pool allows Nissa to untap that particular land and still be able to cast Aether Gust.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty big deal in this situation. In the meantime, Kanister is going to play some, quite a few things, honestly, here in the Familiar and the Oven, and continue to set things up.
Yes, indeed. So this is what the deck wants to do, wants to sacrifice the cat, make the food with the oven, draw the cards with Trail of Crumbs, and just keep refilling the coffers with this lovely little goose that likes to make more food. So Trail of Crumbs is the reveal, as well as a swamp. Looks like he might go for the land here. Nah, Trail of Crumbs is going to be the pick. And it's following up with another Gilded Goose. Things are looking very, very nice here for Kanister.
Breeding Pool.
There you go. You're like magic, Cedric.
I just call the games. That's all I do.
Nissa, who shakes the world, brings the Breeding Pool to life, provides a little bit of defense against this army that Piotr Głogowski is amassing here, swinging in for 3 with the Breeding Pool. You got to think he's just going to take it. I mean, he can put the cat in the way, but eh. Sacrificing a food. Got to draw a card. Take a look at the top 2 cards of his library. Reveal a permanent.
I like this play here from Peter.
Nice.
From Peter, getting information before blocking. He wants to work with perfect information before making his decision, which he should. Okay.
Taking 3 goes down to 19. Fabled Passage off the top of the library. Probably hoping to find something a little bit more impactful, maybe a Corvold, to really start putting the pressure on Andrea Mengucci.
We're getting interesting this game. We're getting very, very interesting this game because Swift End can go after Nissa.
Yeah.
And that might cause Mengucci to gust it on top of his deck because he doesn't have a lot of action.
Yeah.
And that might be correct, unsure. Obviously, Gust can also target Wicked Wolf if Głogowski wants to do some food shenanigans and try to just kill the Nissa with 6 points of damage. So this is going to be, I think, a lengthy turn here for Kanister with regards to decision making. This one's a little difficult. He doesn't get roped very often.
No. He's usually quite decisive with his actions, but there is so much on the line here. So you can't really fault him for taking just a little bit of extra time. Hydroid Crisis is going to block the Wicked Wolf.
Yep.
That will die to the big puppy dog. And now we're going to see a swamp out of the library off the Fabled Passage. And the Murderous Rider is going to take care of Nissa, who shakes the world.
Is he going to gust this or not? I don't think he wants to. I think he has to.
Yeah.
He has nothing.
Yeah, when you don't know what your next draw is, you got to protect that Planeswalker. She is just so powerful.
His Quasi-Duplicate is awful right now.
It's not doing anything for him.
Yeah, his Gust is okay. One thing I will say is it is extremely unlikely, I believe, that Kanister will play around the second Gust.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be, to both be in the hand.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect to have 4 Hydroid Crises in the hand, but that's what happened to Mengucci
That's happened last game. That brought the L. that didn't do it.
So things are getting quite tense here between these two players. They both want to lock up that 5-0, get through to day number 3.
The good news here for Mengucci is he's got a high impact spell to play next turn.
Yeah.
And he can also protect his Nissa in a meaningful way next turn. Now, the bad thing here for Mengucci is that he's playing as a player who has an active Trail of Crumbs.
Yes. Possibly 2.
And has enough mana with the lands that are in his hand on the battlefield to work himself towards casualties of war. So there are some horrible things that could happen to Mengucci this game. There are some good things that can happen. Step 1's going to be Nissa, making another knucklehead and getting in for some damage, and then we'll see what Kanister gets to do. But for now, Kanister, as the rope ticks away, perhaps the Trails of Crumbs will come to play.
You're rhyming, you know that.
I hadn't noticed.
Man, he is deliberating hard. Looks like he's going to leave out the mana to make another food off the Gilded Goose. Here comes Nissa, who shakes the world. No surprise there. Aether Gust can protect, send something away, perhaps a Wicked Wolf, who knows. But we're going to swing in here with 3 3s. Cauldron Familiar will block. Get sacrificed to the oven, make a food token.
This is big. This Trail of Crumbs trigger. It's gonna be really big here in a second.
See what he finds off the top.
Yeah.
Predictions?
I mean, I think Kanister's War is the best thing he can find.
Yeah. Let's see.
That doesn't mean it's going to resolve because there's Gust in hand, but I think it's the best thing he can find.
All right, so not going for the draw off the Trail of Crumbs on the end step.
His hand kind of sucks.
Cedric Phillips saying it like it is.
Yeah, it's just it's a couple copy. He doesn't have his high impact cards. No Corvold, no Mayhem Devil, no casualties right now. The Wolf did a great job of bridging the gap and killing the Leafkin Druid, but right now, like his battlefield's okay, but you and I.
Yeah, it's got 3 cats.
Yeah, I mean, but you and I know this just like Mengucci does, and Głogowski knows this as well. You leave Nissa on the battlefield for a couple turns, you're gonna lose to it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's too powerful. You're gonna lose to it.
But still, have you seen the power of 3 cats? Because I sure have.
I have no rebuttal.
Okay, so Wicked Wolf. Does he go in for an attack at Nissa? Yes, he does. He's got food tokens he can sacrifice. We can trigger a Trail of Crumbs.
Yeah, we're blocking. A food token's going to get sacrificed, and then you're going to gust it away. Is Kanister going to... Is he going to play... Ooh, oh, yes. Talk to me.
This broadcast is rated PG-13.
Oh, I wanted that double block. No, no.
So he could kill Nissa here if he generates another food token.
That's also true.
Why? Is he going to gust it away? Gust Nissa
absolutely.
back again?
Yeah. No. He'll gust the wolf.
Oh, yeah, okay. Fair, sure.
He wants.
Oh, yeah, don't get the counters on.
Yeah.
You don't want a 6/6 on this battlefield.
Eat all the food you want, bud.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're going to get kicked out of the buffet.
Use the goose. Do it all. Make as much food as you want.
All right, he's sacrificing the first food token, getting the trigger off the Trail of Crumbs. Mengucci's just going to let this happen. Ooh, hello.
That's a real card.
Hello, adorable Mayhem Devil. It remembers Cedric.
All right, that's one.
He's probably thinking, yeah, you're up to something, Mengucci.
He's already. What makes this so tough is he's already cast a Gust. Mengucci does have 4 in his sideboard, though.
Yeah.
But
Mengucci hasn't got much going for him besides that Gust, though.
All right, so down to 2.
All right.
Okay.
So just letting that through. Because he's got Mayhem Devil, so he could get the rest of the damage done.
I mean, that's getting gusted, too. Get that out. Get that. That's red. See ya.
Yep.
Get to sacrifice a food. Little Trail of Crumbs trigger.
Will he pay? Pay the 1. Don't lose the red. All right, there's another Witch's Oven. That could really accelerate things for him. 3 cats, 2 ovens, and a Mayhem Devil? Yes, please. Go on. You know you wanna. All right, here comes the Mayhem Devil.
Yeah, he's gusting right away. Okay, so we are talking huge draw step. Now, last time I said this, he drew a Hydroid Crisis.
Okay,
I'm going to say that Mengucci's best draw step is Hydroid Crisis.
Okay, let's see. Are you the Magic Man twice in one matchup? Kitty Cat first before we pass the turn back to Andrea Mengucci. Cauldron Familiar number 2 enters the battlefield, and Oven number 2 as well. What is it? It's a breeding pool.
It's not good.
I'm disappointed.
It's not good. He needed Cavalier of Thorns, Hydroid Crisis, some way to interact.
Yeah.
Basically anything but a land.
Yeah. Quasi-duplicate is just doo-doo for him.
It's pretty. I mean, it's a card with a lot of upside, and it's quite bad right now. Now, obviously, this is straightforward enough. Your creatures can attack,
swing,
give some beatdown, so on and so forth. The Cauldron Familiar is going to jump in front of some things. And as we can see with Kanister's hand, it's not made yet. But Kanister's got a lot of life to work with. He's at 11 right now. And, I mean, he might be fine.
He might be fine.
I mean, he doesn't want to quasi-duplicate. I mean, there's nothing.
Well, no, you can't.
Yeah, you can. There's nothing to quasi-duplicate here, so he's just going to pass the turn back.
It's a dead card in hand until he finds something worthwhile to target, but Witch's Oven is going to do Witch's Oven things. Cauldron Familiar's in the graveyard, and
Trouble's
here comes the adorable Mayhem Devil.
Trouble is here. Remember, that got gusted last turn, so Mengucci knew that was coming.
Yeah.
But trouble is definitely here now.
Ooh,
Corvold's more trouble.
Hello. All right, so let's get the Mayhem Devil down first. Let's get to pinging. Let's get some kitty cats on this battlefield.
I'd say first order of business is you got to get rid of that Nissa.
Yeah. For sure.
Because Mengucci still has draws that he can take advantage of the mana generation that Nissa is creating right now.
Yeah.
As an example, End-Raise Forerunners, because it's doubling all the mana. He could just play that, and his team is enormous.
Crisis too.
Yeah, that's obviously great as well. So it is real important to get this Nissa off the battlefield, and I actually think that Mengucci has to block this time.
No food to sacrifice here, unless the Gilded Goose comes to the wolf's rescue. So Mengu just deciding what it is he wants to block with, breeding pool, island, or not at all. If he loses the Nissa, he's got pretty much nothing. All right, so island is going to be the chump blocker for the Wicked Wolf.
And this is bad news for Mengucci because remember, he's also playing a blue-green deck.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't kill creatures. You know, that's one of the weaknesses of blue and green cards.
It's just like, I'm going to ignore all your stuff, and I'm going to make massive things and kill you quick. That hasn't happened for him in this round, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean,
he's had really good draws.
Game 1, it was straightforward.
Yeah.
Straightforward enough, I would say. I mean, he was able to beat a Casualties of War, and Mayhem Devil didn't really show up early in game number 1, and he was able to get that one done. Game 2, he got ran over with Mayhem Devil doing Mayhem Devil things, and it's going to try to do that now and catch Kanister back up here. Not to say that he's particularly far behind in this game.
So Cauldron Familiar enters the battlefield, deals a point of damage, gains him a life. It's going to get sacrificed to the oven. Mayhem Devil's going to get to pinging and target Nissa, who shakes the world, get that off the battlefield. Kitty Cat comes back, sacrifices a food, Mayhem Devil trigger. Again, you can see how this works and why this engine is so effective when it gets put together. But, geez, there's been a few games where it just hasn't come together for the players this weekend.
No, and this one it is.
Yes,
this one it's very much coming together here for Kanister. And it's looking really, really bad here for Mengucci. I'm trying to think of what so the best draw step last turn was Hydro Crisis. I do not believe that's the best draw step going into the next turn because he doesn't have a ton of mana. It might be in so far as he just needs a big threat and more cards to bridge the gap. But if he doesn't find something awesome to do in this next turn, he's going to get Mayhem Deviled and trailed out of this game.
Oh, yes.
There probably won't be another turn from Mengucci past this one if he doesn't find something awesome.
It's almost inevitable at this point, depending what Mengucci finds. What is it? Off the top of the library, that's a Castle Vantress. That's not going to help him. Good game, he says, giving it up to Piotr Głogowski, our very first 5-0 player, through to day number 3 in a very, very tough matchup against a very, very good player in Andrea Mengucci, but he still has plenty chances to secure his spot in day number 3. What a game.
I thought that was a very, very good matchup for Mengucci. However, one of the things he could lose to in that matchup, he certainly did, and that's when Trail and Mayhem Devil, Cauldron Familiar, Witches Oven, when it's all online.
Yeah.
If Głogowski can find it all and get it all going, Mengucci can't really break it up. He can try to overpower it with N-Ray's Forerunners, but he was